Hello friends and welcome to another colour along. Today we are colouring Island Home, which is a page from Fantasy Tiny Homes. It's also a page from the June Colour Club pack, which you can get from rjhampson.com, which means if you don't have the books of the pages that I'll be colouring this month, you can just grab the Colour Club pack and colour along. Alright, today we have this little island with a guy swimming with the fishes, bit of coral, bit of ocean. It's a complex little page, even though it's framed nicely. And I think the best way to attack this page might be to do it in sections. Or if we section it out and just focus on a section, it will be less overwhelming. I'm going to start with this colour, which is light cobalt turquoise. I just want to look at the water around here and get some nice light colour into it. Really like colouring with my Polychromos. It does get me into a meditative state though. I don't know if you find the same thing when you colour with pencils. I find when I colour with markers, it sort of goes quick and these colours fill areas really quickly. But with the Polychromos, you've just got to sort of build the colours up and go lightly. I don't like to push really hard and scrub the paper. I'm going to start layering. I think these little holes should be seen through. And we'll just keep building that colour up. I don't want it to be a flat colour, well, because we're underwater, so let's have little bits of ripples and all sorts going on. Well, like patches of light shining through, I guess, is what we're after. All right, let's keep going. Let's go over to this side. And we'll do a similar thing. And I'm just going to bring in a little bit of cadmium yellow lemon. And I don't want to put much in, just a tiny little touch of it, lightly colouring, just to add a little bit of differentiation, maybe some light rays that are coming through. Not much at all, people. In fact, I think I'm going to stop there. All right, maybe some more of this light cobalt turquoise. All right, let's look at these rocks. And I've got here a cold grey 2 and a cold grey 3. I'm going to use the cold greys. And this is my cold grey 2. And this is cold grey 3. Let's bring in a cold grey 4. What about a cold grey 5? Just get our shadows in nice and darkly. And we'll just keep working our way back up cold grey 4. No, this is 3. No, 4. Then we'll go for our 3. And we'll get back to our light cold grey 2 for this little piece. This, I guess it's coral or rock up here. Cold grey 3. All right, this is cold grey 4. And there we are with our cold grey 5. we're going darker still, cold grey 6. I really want these crevices to be in shadow. All right, let's bring in just a little bit of warmth. We've got a dark sepia here. And I think I really want to get some nice dark shadows. I'm going to do these ones here, dark sepia as well. All right, I'm going to bring some browns in. Let's do burnt umber. It's still dark, but we're going to bring in some differentiation. Why don't we play with a little bit of something else, maybe a bit of nougat just to blend it with. Back to our burnt umber. Yeah, and some nougat backing with our nougat. Let's put a little bit of touch of nougat up in here. And cold grey too. I just want to finish off some of these little pieces here, just keep blending that in. All right, let's look at this seaweed. I have three colours here. We've got a light green, a permanent green, and a leaf green. So the light green I'm going to use sparingly just to sort of give reflections of light, the tips and the edges maybe of our seaweed. All right, then I'm going to move to my leaf green. And then our permanent green. Back to our leaf green. And our permanent green. And onto our permanent green. I'm just going to bring back in some of our cold grey 6. All right, light cobalt turquoise. Because we're underwater, I do want to have that sort of showing on our rocks. So I am lightly going to blend that over the top. And hopefully where we left the light, that will really sort of jump out, give us some underwater vibes. All right, let's look at these little fish. This is cobalt turquoise. I'm seeing the top of the fish in that. And I've got some Prussian blue here for the bottom. Sort of more shadows in the background, aren't they? I'm going to bring that permanent green back in because I want those to be a bit darker down there. All right, dark sepia. Just want to add in a little bit of like undershadowing. So this gets a bit more three-dimensional. I'm going to do the same on this side. All right, let's get the dark sepia on the base of these little wharfy bits. The pillars of the wharf, I guess that's what they are. Then I'm going to bring in some burnt sienna, sort of blend that in. All right, this is our Naples yellow. And I think we've got some orange ruffy here, maybe some. Give them the highlights on top with this Naples yellow. I think so. Let's get some of these goggles, give some of that Naples yellow on the tops of the goggles. And then I'm going to bring in some terracotta. All right, this is a Pompeian red. Let's start with our goggles. And a little bit of burnt carmine. And Pompeian red. Let's get some of that Pompeian red in the bellies of our fish. Maybe even some burnt carmine at the bottom there. And what about a light yellow glaze? cold grey 4, I missed a bit here. All right, I'm going to bring my dark sepia back in for the inside of their eyes. What about some green grey? Get a bit of sort of silvery fish into there. All right, let's get some Naples yellow in his hair as well. Maybe some terracotta. And some Pompeian red. And burnt carmine. Bit of terracotta. Got some burnt carmine shadowy bits in the hair here. Some of that earth grey. All right, I'm going with the pink body. We'll go with some beige red. He's only got 3 toes. Something's gone horribly wrong. Yeah, maybe a little bit of coral. I'm going to bring some of that cold grey 5 back in because we want some shadows in these goggles, maybe under these goggles as well. Right, I just missed some of this. This is permanent green. All right, what I'm going to do now is bring in some acrylic. This is an acrylic marker. This is just white because I want these bubbles to disappear. So I'm going to white out the black lines. With my acrylic marker. I'm just going to bring some bright in. This is light green. Make that a bit brighter. Just get some greeny sort of hues going in this rock as well. All right, so we've done a really nice little section here. All right, we've done our first section. Let's move on to the next section. All right, let's look at this water. Look at all this water here. And because we've got this light cobalt turquoise here, we're going to start by laying down a similar colour. And also going to just introduce some of that colour up around our waves maybe. And then I'm going to bring in cobalt turquoise and just sort of blend lightly into a darker . I think I'm going to bring in a darker one. This is Helio Blue Turquoise. No, Helio Turquoise. All right, this is brown ochre. And some of our burnt sienna that we used down here. I guess some of that Helio Turquoise. All right, I'm going to bring in some cold grey 4. And a cold grey 5 because I want some shadows in this as well. All right, let's look at this rock that's on top of the water now, and we're going to go with our cold grey 2. Actually, I might bring in some warm greys. Kick off with a warm grey 2. Then bring in our cold grey 2. About a warm grey 4. Then a little bit of burnt umber. And I'm going with my warm grey 2 again. And there's still a little bit of warm grey 4. And then a little bit of burnt umber. And I'm just going to put a little bit of Naples yellow in. All right, let's get this wharf happening with that Naples yellow. And a little bit of that brown ochre. Burnt sienna. All right, let's go with these steps with the warm grey 2. And then a bit of warm grey 4. All right, while we're on this wharf, I'm going to get some gold ink from this gold ink pen, just for those little bits there. All right, now I do have a sheet of paper and a sheet of acetate under this page, but I'm going to just use a colourless blender to try and blend these pencils in nicely. I sort of want them to be more watery, so sometimes I find that colourless blender over the top of pencils just can give you a softer blend than pencils alone. There you go. I think that's done wonders for us. Now, I'm going to bring back my white gel pen because I want this line to be white. All right, this is another acrylic marker. This is a T570 from the Artex range. Just a light sort of bluey colour. And I was wondering whether that would work well over the top of this. And then I think a little bit of gel pen, white gel pen. All right, we've done our little water section. We're on to our next section. Now, do we go with the sky or do we go with this little scene? I think maybe we do the sky next. All right, let's kick off maybe with the sky blue here. All right, we're going to bring in a different blue now. This is all ultramarine, light ultramarine. Then I'm going to add in a darker colour, cobalt blue. And I'm just going to add in some light cobalt turquoise to the base here to sort of blend it a little bit more with that water. Maybe I'm going to throw in a little bit of light yellow glaze. I'm going to bring in my colourless blender, so I really want that sky to be nice and blended. I guess this is a cheat's way of doing that. All right, let's get some clouds happening. I just want to have a little bit of a sky blue strip or shadow within that cloud. I'm just going to play with some acrylic markers again. This is sort of a grey T715, this is. I'm just going to use this to zero out that black line, but also to give us some sort of shadows on the clouds. I'm sort of dabbing it on because I want a bit of a texture. And I'm going to do the same thing to this cloud. Now this is our white, it's acrylic marker white. This is T12001. And I guess we're going to just repeat what we did here, but up this side. So we're going to start with our sky blue and work our way up. All right, then our light ultramarine, start to blend that in. All right, then we're bringing in our cobalt blue. Then I'm going to bring in the light cobalt blue, the light cobalt turquoise, sorry, that's going to just be it, to be sort of merge our water into our sky here. And some light yellow glaze. And I just really want to blend that in with my colourless blender. I'm using the chisel nib because it's giving me more traction than the brush nib would. And I really want to blend the colours in. All right, a little bit of sky blue. Just I'm going to add in a little bit of sky blue here. I'll go a bit darker, a bit light ultramarine. And I'm just going to give myself the same sort of shadows here. I'm bringing back in the acrylic markers, and this is T715, which is just a light grey. Just going to keep adding it on top of here because I want those lines to disappear. That's the fun thing with acrylic markers, is you can just keep layering them. If you don't have acrylic markers, I'm sure you could use whatever you've got. If you've got acrylic paints, you could probably brush that on. And you don't have to remove the lines, I'm just doing it for fun. All right, I've let that dry just a little bit. Now I'm coming back in. Texture happening. And now I'm bringing in the white. Let's just play a little bit with this white. Right, let's get back to our little village on the hill here. So I've got some light green. Just going to bring in some white to our trees here. Then I'm bringing in the leaf green. And then a little bit of permanent green. And then we'll do the same thing to this tree with our leaf green as a highlight. Oh, this is light green, sorry, not leaf green. What am I saying? I'm telling you lies. That was light green, this is leaf green. Well, that was permanent green. I'm leading you all astray. I'm getting my greens all mixed up. And this is leaf green. Now this is permanent green olive. Just put in a bit of extra shadow here. Now let's do some light green on this tree as well. There's little shrubs down here. And we'll go with a little bit of leaf green. And then we'll go with our permanent green. And we've got our grass. So why don't we do a little bit of that light yellow glaze on the tips of our grass. Then we're bringing in some May green. And then some earth green yellowish. Right, this is a darker green, it's phthalo green. And this is a colour called chrome oxide green. All right, this is a juniper green. And I'm going to match that up with this chrome oxide green fiery. And then what about a deep cobalt green? Back to our juniper green. All right, let's keep going with our juniper. Some chrome oxide green, fiery. Then our deep cobalt green. All right, let's move on to, I was going to do that. Let's do the trees, tree stumps, I guess. And I've got my brown ochre. What about some burnt sienna? I've got some raw umber. And back to our burnt sienna. This is our burnt carmine. You can give it a little red roof. Maybe a red door as well. And this is our Pompeian red. Bringing back some of that burnt carmine. Just want to get a nice vignette of colours coming onto the roof. And I probably need to throw in a little bit of coral maybe. Yeah, let's do some coral. And I think some warm grey too is going to work on our chimney here. I think warm grey too on this little eave. And then we'll get a bit darker with our warm greys to this 4. I'm going to do the doorsteps in that grey as well. Back to our warm grey 2. Alrighty, what about some Naples? Let's get some Naples back in. I'm just going to lightly do our Naples yellow over here. On our little house. Well, I got it out, let's do the rope. And then I'm going to bring in this umber brown ochre. That's what it is, brown ochre. All right, let's get some dark sepia into our windows. I'm going to do some dark sepia on this tyre as well. I almost forgot it. I'm bringing my gold ink pen back in because I want a little brass handle here. All right, I'm going to bring this grey Artex acrylic marker back in, T713. What do you think if we just add a little bit of smoke? A little bit of smoke and mirrors to our smoke. This is just a bit darker, T730. Add a little bit of darkness to my clouds as well. And I think a little bit of white acrylic in our smoke. I want to add a little bit more white acrylic to our ocean here. And a little bit of gel pen. I just want to have highlights. Right, I'm just going to add in some little more shadow. So this is my dark sepia. Not sepia, sepia. There's no more sheep. Well, you know, I think I'm going to call that one finished. Island Home from Fantasy Tiny Homes. And also part of the June Colour Club pack from rjhampson.com. And I hope you enjoyed colouring along with me today as much as I enjoyed colouring this page with Polychromos. Mostly Polychromos, a little bit of acrylic markers and some gel pens. Just going to put a little bit of coral in their eyes, just to warm things up a bit in these fish. Look at that, made all the difference. Well, there it is. Thanks again for watching, guys. Remember to like and subscribe. Leave your comments below. And no doubt I shall see you in another video, but for now I'm going to say goodbye. See you later.